It's Thursday morning, and it's time for Tech for Seniors Live, where technology gets its deserved deep dive. This isn't happening via Zoom, so we can't see who's joining the show. So please sign in to the chat box below as we gather around the screen, both far and wide, with curiosity as our ever-trusty guide. We'll navigate the digital seas, a knowledgeable crew, exploring all the tech tips, both old and new. No need for cameras, no need for dress. Just bring your questions and we'll address. From gadgets to apps and all the tech lore, we're here to help, to teach, and much more. So type away in the chat. Don't be shy. Our tech-savvy hosts are here to reply. It's Thursday morning. Let the tech talk flow at the Tech for Seniors Live, the best tech show.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tech for Senior Live. This is March the 14th. I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host today. And we have a great panel for discussion of the news today. I'll be introducing the panel in just a moment. So I do want to thank everyone for coming. We really do appreciate you coming and listening to us talk about news. We're a group of seniors who like to get together and have coffee on Thursday morning. And we like to talk about all the news of the week and everything that's happening. Oh my gosh, this week, a whole bunch of things are happening. We're going to have a great discussion about this. But who are we? Well, we're a group of seniors who, I guess 5 years ago, decided to start Tech for Senior, and Huey and I had this idea and we came up with it. And where did the 5 years go, Huey?
I don't know.
It just happened and it's gone. Yeah. And we're now we're moving into our season 5 on our Monday show, and it will be I guess probably in the next on the 27th, the end of the month, will be our start of our fifth year. So but let everyone know that it's a Zoom meeting that we have on our Monday show. If you're listening to this show and you haven't ever been to our Monday show, come. We have a lot of fun. It's a great show. We do a lot of cool stuff and it's very social sort of thing because we can talk back and forth. Whereas today, this is a broadcast from StreamYard out to Facebook and YouTube, but it's not an interaction sort of thing. So we need you, please, if you are listening, put something in the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're from, any questions you have, anything you want to discuss. We're happy to to bring that up and discuss it with you on today's show. This is, but we can't have the same interaction because it's not a Zoom meeting. And I was just saying before we logged on, again, after all the stuff I do every Monday to say, look, everyone, it's not a Zoom meeting on Thursday. We already saw some people logging into our Zoom account to try and watch the show, but it's not our Zoom account. It's our just go to Facebook or go to Facebook or go to YouTube, or let me just bring this up here. We'll bring our banners. You can even just go to our website, www.techforsenior.com. There's a button right there at the top of the page, and just click that button and it'll take you right to the show. So we hope everyone can find us and get to the right page. So anyway, let me introduce our esteemed group today. I, of course, am Ron Brown. I live on a little island off the coast of the west coast of Canada. And it is going to be a drop down, dead, gorgeous, hot, sunny day today. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm sure all our friends down in Kirkland, Washington, and all those people watching are all going to tell me the same today. They're all happy. It's going to be a nice sunny day, which is great. Now, over on another land far, far away, on the other side of the United States, in a little state called Florida, in a little town called Bradenton, we have, of course, my co-host on Monday, Huey Popluck. Are you there, Huey?
Yep, and I'm on a little peninsula. Let's see. Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. He acted like you didn't hear me. Anyway, I'm in a little peninsula off the southern coast of Georgia, and in a small town, as he said, just off the Gulf of Mexico called Bradenton. It's not so small, and there's a lot of people here for spring break. So the roads are crowded. If you want to go anywhere, if you want to go anywhere, you're backed up at traffic lights forever.
They're probably all Canadian plates too, right?
No, some of them are in English.
Oh, yeah. Also, just to remind everyone, it is Pi Day today, right? So just remind everybody. Now, I just wanted to remind you that in 2016, a man by the name of Akira Haraguchi became the unofficial world record for reciting the most digits of pi, 100,000 over more than 16 hours. He said pi is a spiritual calling. So I'd like to know if you're out there listening and you feel spiritual calling today because of pi, please put it in the chat. We'd like to know who you are. So speaking of spiritual calling, we have, of course, our security expert from Los Lunas, New Mexico, who is a great guy, Bob Gostisha, who is with us today. Bob, is it snowing there? What's happening in?
Oh, no snow. It's 44 degrees. And Pi Day doesn't only mean digits. Pi Day in New Mexico means Pi Town, New Mexico, where you can eat lots and lots of pie.
Oh,
Look it up. They celebrate Pi Day on the 14th of March, but they eat it. They don't have digits.
Yep. I like that. I like that better than digits. I like that. That's
spelled P-I-E.
Yeah.
So just add an E to it and look it up. Pi Town, New Mexico.
Add an E and eat.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. And then, of course, from Pine, Arizona, our music director for our Monday show. He, of course, is a man of many talents, since he's also the president of APCUG and also a trustworthy sort of fella because he holds all the money. He's the treasurer as well. Married to a very nice lady by the name of Carol, who always says Ray is the nicest man she's ever met. So what can we say, Ray?
If I had to convince anybody of that, Carol was the right person to do that with.
Yeah, she's a good ambassador for you, I'll tell you that.
I wanted to let Bob know that I guess it was 2 years ago, and maybe 3. I'm forgetting that I took a camping trip with my motorhome to New Mexico, and on the way to our destination, we stopped in Pi Town, and it's not that big, the big camping area across the street, but we're on the side that has the restaurant. We had some delicious pie. So that was one of the highlights of that trip. Thank you, Bob.
They're not cheap either. I'll tell you that much. I
No,
just
did they-
noticed Pine, Arizona. That's pie also. Any
I never thought of that. You're right.
Is there any special pie that they have? Is there anything they're famous for? Any
apple pie is the big specialty there.
apple pie? Eh?
Yep.
Cool. Interesting. Huey, is anyone listening to us?
Nope. Yeah.
Having fun anyway.
A couple of people.
All right. Bernard from Sterling Heights Computer Club in Detroit, Michigan, 50 degrees. Ed Weiss from high of 77, sunny in central New Jersey. Sally, 34 degrees and sunny, expects 70 on Saturday. Oh, Kirkland, Washington. Yeah, it was cold overnight, but I think it's going to be hot. Expect 70 degrees on Saturday and sunny. I think it's going to be hot today, though. My plan is to wash the car. That's my big challenge today.
Yeah, my car is full of green because of the pollen.
Pollen, right?
It's really bad. Yeah, and it's in the 70s right now. It's going to go to 84 today here in Florida.
Jeff's currently 55 degrees, partly cloudy in Southern California. Dick Vogel, 76 degrees Fahrenheit, not snowy Florida. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Happy Pie Day from Bob. Murray Strom, good morning from mostly cloudy Victoria, BC in the low 40s. Murray, we're sending you some sun. It's going to get sunny there later on. Maybe that is why one of the cable channel is showing The Life of Pi today. Oh, really? A great movie, by the way. It is. Yeah. Oh, isn't that cool? Thanks, Murray. Yeah, that's good. Gerald Smith, West Seattle, partly sunny, 41 degrees. Gerald, have you found anyone to replace our Chromebook Pixelbook batteries? I know that you're working on that challenge. Clark Walker, currently 64 degrees near Trenton, New Jersey. Murray says, by the way, the pi in The Life of Pi is not the big number. It is a short for piscine, French for swimming pool. Jim Talman, 81 degrees in Venice, Florida. Bob Baxter, Bellevue, Washington, 37 degrees, sun heading for 56 and 69 degrees this weekend. Cliff across the bay from Huey.
That must mean he's in Sarasota, or I'm sorry, St. Pete or Clearwater or Tampa.
Go out, wave out your window there. Give him a big high five out the window there. All right, is that it? Those are our.
Yep.
We all caught up. Great. All right, so we're going to go over the news, some of the news stories before we get in. Now, I just want to let everyone know, if you want to follow all the articles we publish each week on our Facebook page, just go to Tech for Senior and you'll find our Facebook page, and you can follow the articles with us. Also, you have to remember that we all the group of Tech for Senior, we all publish articles all week long on the articles that we find interesting, and we put them on our Facebook page. So if you're a news editor, you're somebody who's looking for tech news, if you just follow the Facebook page along, you'll see all the articles that we publish there, and you might be interested in them. So that's a good thing. So you can just follow along with us if you want. So the number one news article this week, let me just get this up here. The number one news article this week. Does anyone want to guess what that is? Does anyone want to? Ray, if you had that wild guess as to what would be the major news article of the week, what might you say it might be?
Does it start with a T?
Could be. Yeah, you'd be really close.
It was with a K, right?
There's a K in it too.
Yep.
And if you put the word toe at the end, it would be a game.
Yeah, it would. It would be. You're right on the money there.
I have two videos on it.
But Bob's done a couple of videos on it as well.
Only a couple?
Yeah. So the huge news of the week, of course, has to be TikTok. I mean, we had to talk about that today. Huge news for your friend who takes any opportunity to humble brag and they aren't really on TikTok. It's a rare bipartisan move. The House passed legislation to effectively ban TikTok in a 352 to 64 vote yesterday. So I guess the question is this. So let me just break it. So Huey, what does it really mean? It's just the legislature's passed this, but it has to go to the Senate, doesn't it?
The Senate voted 50-0
to pass it.
Yep.
Oh, so okay. So where is it next? Does it go to?
It goes to the president.
Yep.
Oh, it's that happened that fast.
Yep.
Yeah. I think president's got a problem because he said he was going to sign it. The problem is his campaign is front and center on TikTok.
Yeah, they're actually advertising his campaign on TikTok right now.
Yeah. Yep. So, Bob, you've done a bunch of videos on this. Now, you've talked about TikTok.
I did two specific videos on TikTok. One because lots of people get their news from TikTok, which is not a good thing.
Right.
And the other one is that the evils is not only in TikTok. The biggest evil in TikTok, of course, is the fact that you share your information with the Chinese Communist Party. And that's the objection. But there is technology in TikTok, and I do not use TikTok, but there is technology in TikTok that's not available in any of the other social media platforms. What, as far as I'm concerned, you should be doing, because you can't address all the other social medias. They all have the same flaws. They're all no good for the kids. But by banning TikTok, you don't solve the problem. You solve one small problem, but you don't solve the overall problem with social media. It's a cop-out. Tackle it like you should.
So just to review it with everyone, getting through the House is the furthest thing. Getting through the House is the furthest that the federal legislation targeting has gone since lawmakers started questioning the app's Chinese ownership hurts national security. But the bill, which would require TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell or shut down the app, now faces the Simon Cowell of legislative branch, the Senate. But it's passed. So this is old news, right?
Yeah.
Because you said it's been the Senate majority. Okay, so we don't need to talk about that because it has passed. So a ban would change. If a bill does become law, in addition to forcing over 170 million people, that's a lot of people that use TikTok, eh guys?
Yeah.
170 million people to find another way to avoid reading a book. TikTok ban would also be a blow to the creator economy, small business, and advertisers. Experts predict that creators and subsequently their followers would head to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Snapchat to make up for the loss. The shift would be a W for US-based Meta and Alphabet, which would presumably take up some of the TikTok dollars.
And that would be the Meta, I can't remember what they call it, but the YouTube Shorts is the Alphabet version of it, and Meta's is Reels. And I'm just wondering how many of our listeners or people who are live there, if they'll type in, do you use TikTok?
Right.
Have you ever used it?
Well, there's
on a regular
170
basis.
What do they say? 1 in 6 people in the United States uses TikTok. It's like
but we might have the other.
Maybe we got nobody.
The other ones, yeah.
Ray, what do you think? Do you use TikTok?
Absolutely not. I just took a quick look to see if the Senate voted today, and I didn't see anything about the Senate.
No, it wasn't today. I believe it was a day or two ago.
That was the House of Representatives only. It's only
that must have been a committee then, but it was 50-0, whatever.
Yeah, and of course in the Senate it would be 100 votes total, not 50.
That's correct. That's correct.
I don't think it's been passed by the Senate. Just
you are correct. That was a committee then.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So the post we had on Tech for Senior website on Facebook is a little bit dated because, as I just said yesterday, the House did pass the bill, And now the Senate is expected to agree. However, this is despite former President Trump, who's now against the ban. Before he wasn't, now he is. And of course, then the President Biden, he's ready to sign it into law. But as Yui said, he's been on TikTok in a campaign ad. So how can you have it both ways for these politicians? I think the only way this will work is if there's an agreement that a TikTok be sold to a U.S. entity. And several of these entities have come up. Mr. Wonderful, who's on Shark Tank, he wants to do it. Others have voiced that they do. But I doubt ByteDance is going to agree to that. So bear in mind, the existing users' data is already out there. That's not going to be affected. If the Communist Chinese Party wants access to that, they have it. This really is only going to affect, to me, a smaller number of new users who may come on in the future. Bottom line, I have no idea how this is going to come out.
The other thing is that if you are on Facebook and you look at some of the videos that are there, sometimes those will be TikTok, sometimes they'll be Reels, and sometimes they'll be YouTube Shorts. So sometimes you may be using or looking at TikTok but not realize it. But the big thing about it is where they really want to ban it is to have the app and then run the app, because that's how they really get your data.
So just to remind everyone, it's not just the United States that has problems with TikTok. I mean, it was banned I think a couple of years ago in Canada with any of the government agencies. You cannot use TikTok. Any government agency, anybody that has anything.
Australia.
Great Britain. Yeah, Great Britain, Australia is it's very controversial because of this. So it's not just the United States that has this issue. It's I guess a worldwide issue.
The only place you don't have the issue is in China, because TikTok, as we know it, is not available.
That's what I'm going to say. That's right. That's what I was going to bring out. That's on one of my next slides. Is it's not even available in China. So,
correct.
I thought this is interesting. What does TikTok have to say? It's a ban based on zero evidence. A spokesman for the company told WSJ that TikTok spent over 21 million since 2019 lobbying to fight a ban that, according to the nonprofit research group Open Secrets. China.
What is it going to be in Canada, though? You said the government agencies, and that's true already in the U.S. But what about individuals, like individuals in the U.S.? Where do you see that going in Canada?
I don't. Nowhere right now. It will obviously. The problem will be, and we'll discuss that in a minute. The problem is, of course, a lot of Canadian content creators use TikTok to generate like a lot of people are employed making creative stuff that's used for TikTok, but that's a US market. They're creating content that's used in the US market. So if the US shuts down TikTok, it will have a severe influence on Canada, because all those people won't be able to, make livelihood and do what they do. I don't see the government here yet, although we don't know, banning TikTok, although it is banned in anything to do with government applications. So you can't use it. So it is restricted to some degree. China is also irked. A spokesman for the foreign ministry accused the U.S. of suppressing TikTok and said, in the end, this will inherently come back to bite the United States itself. Meanwhile, TikTok, here's what Bob said, is banned in China, though a similar but heavily censored app is allowed, and in some other countries. So I thought that was interesting. And creators are frustrated but energized as TikTok ban gains momentum. TikTok creators and their followers want concerns taken seriously and plan to push back. So, I mean, it is a big issue, right?
Yep.
And there's some people making lots of money as TikTok
creators.
The Leo Laporte's son is one of those.
Right.
He's got some kind of a cooking thing that he does, and he makes a ton of money.
In fact, your ability to make money on TikTok is much better than making videos on YouTube. It's a very good. And the thing that just gets me is 170 million people in the United States use TikTok regularly. And what Bob has said is a lot of people get their news, like all the news services they get it all from TikTok, which is interesting. But I guess my problem is that is that really the process, or is it really the company that owns it?
I'd love to see the TikTok users broken down by age category.
Most
Yeah,
of
because
them
I
are
want
young.
to show you guys something if I could.
Go ahead. Ed says, "Do not use TikTok." Dick says, "I do not use TikTok." Edie, never use TikTok. Linda, no to TikTok. Jeff, nope, never saw a good use for TikTok. Cliff says never used it.
So I would say we're part of a generation is not TikTok
Probably
consumers.
yes,
Yeah.
probably.
The only time it's come up on Tech for Senior is when I can't think who not Dewey was with us, and he wanted to show the EV car that his son, I think, was using, etc.
Oh right, yeah,
That was
right.
on TikTok.
And
And
that
I
was
remember I said, no, I'm not going to sign into TikTok. I don't even want to create any kind of account there. So that showed up on YouTube a few days later. But that's been the only time I think the words TikTok have been mentioned in Tech for Senior in 4 years.
largely because what we just, I guess when I'm looking at this, which just confirms what I've said, is that our group, our sort of group that we broadcast to and talk about, they don't use TikTok.
That's how we call it.
Our demographics, yeah.
Tech for Senior.
I've mentioned it several times in the Security News Roundup because of some of the things that happen in TikTok, but not because I use it or because, well, I do know some people that use it, but they're all younger, not the older generation.
All right. Okay. All right. I want to move on to the next one that we talk about, Grok. Now, who knows what Grok is?
I know what Grok is, but you can't use it unless you're paying for X.
All right.
To get on the list, you have to be a paying member.
All right. So let everyone just sort of fill everybody in on this. I thought it was interesting because I had no idea what Grok was, Grok, but you're going to hear more about this later. So as you know, Elon Musk was one of the original contributors to OpenAI, which of course is ChatGPT. He gave a lot of the initial money to seed OpenAI. Now, what happened is that when, I guess, the whole issue about their CEO and the changing Sam Altman, and I guess the issue was it was always supposed to be free and a non-profit organization, open source, and so when this all, and then Microsoft got involved and they gave a lot of money, and so the thing sort of changed now into a bit of a for-profit thing, and then that resulted in Sam Altman leaving and coming back and all sorts of things happening. Anyway, make a long story short, this wasn't what Elon Musk had given the original money for, and he's suing them and he's all upset, and there's all sorts of problems with that. Anyway, so I guess, I don't know what, if Grok has the same, X must have been developing their own AI, or they had the same group working on it, but they have their own
LLM.
copy. Yeah, and they have their own copy of this, so that it's an AI. And so Elon Musk is saying in this particular one is that they are going to give this away and make it open source, because he thinks it should all be open source and not for profit. So I guess I don't know. Do you guys think that there's anything in this story? You guys follow it? I mean, it was interesting. I just was reading about it. I had no idea up until this week even what Grok was. I didn't know. Do you guys have any more on this? It's an evolving story. If any of our listeners or have any more information about this, I'm trying to put this all together because I think this is going to come up and we're going to hear more and more about it.
I followed a link. I followed a link for early access, and when I got to the link, it said, "Sorry, you have to be a paid member of X in order to get the early that." And I posted a comment. I said, "That's nice, early access, but unless you're paying for it, so where's the free?"
Yeah.
Nonprofit doesn't mean free.
Okay. So I guess it's an evolving story. Something we're going to talk about, but I wanted just to let everybody know what grok was, because if you read about this it's not a drink. I thought it might be a drink initially, but it's not. It's their AI. So, all right, Huey. Before we move on to the news articles, any new last comments, and then we'll start on.
Let's see. I've got to go back. We skipped some here, so I got to see where we were.
I think so.
Clark, do you know Albert Einstein was born in Ulm in Wittenberg, Germany on March 14th, 1879? No, I did not. Thank you, Clark. Pi Day is a major celebration in Princeton. There you go. JG, good day from Arcadia, California. Jeff G, that explains why Einstein was so good with math.
Just not with tying his shoes.
Gerald says, I have not found a reliable battery source for Pixelbook uses the same battery as Microsoft. All source for is a reliable, but use the same battery as Microsoft Surface A50. Oh, okay. Well, keep looking. Although my Pixelbook seems to the battery seems to be hanging in there, but I got a feeling this is the year. Anyway, let's move on to the news articles. I'm going to just come down here and I'll bring my screen up. I'll just refresh it and see if we've got any. We'll come down here. And again, so the first article, Huey, can you follow with me here just in case?
Yep, that's the first one I got.
Yeah, that's okay. Ray, you're as usual right on the mark here.
This is the eye gaze, and this could change the game. Now, this is only at the stage now where a patent has been published, but this is a Microsoft device called the eye gaze, and it's going to allow users to communicate and interact with electronic devices without the use of hands and fingers for typing. It'll be known as dwell free because we won't be having to dwell on what key to press, but the technology would use AI tools, talking about AI, like predictive text, but it's done with the eye. So as an example, the user would look at the first letter and then look at the last letter of a word, and the predictive text would guess what that word is. So I just think this is phenomenal technology of the near future for people who have don't have the ability to use their fingers or hands.
Back when I went to CES before COVID, I remember there was one booth that they had something where you could do things with the computer with your eyes, but it wasn't this. This is using something with AI to be able to create information. The other was just to operate your computer.
Excellent. All right. And have you got, we'll switch over to you here. Just a minute here. There you go. Ray?
All right. So we all know the big hit movie Oppenheimer, which I have yet to see, but that's on my to-do list. Big winner at the Oscars. So this article points out it has helped also focus positive aspects of nuclear energy for the world today with the effort to fight climate change. Surprisingly, in a divided U.S. Congress, this is bipartisan support for nuclear energy to provide the power we need with advanced mini nuclear power plants.
The problem with nuclear power, though, is they have to cool the water down and cool the reactors down, and they have to do it with cool water, and they use electricity to do that with.
So sometimes other plants are built, as this picture shows, right by by a waterway where that water is used to cool it.
All right, let's come.
Okay, we're all getting used to Wi-Fi 6. Believe it or not, Wi-Fi 7 is poised to revolutionize the connectivity. What I really like about this article, when I read about Wi-Fi 7, they're no longer putting all those numbers and letters like 802.11a, etc., which used to follow the version of Wi-Fi. Those are gone. And but the article is worth a read. Here's what it says. The arrival of Wi-Fi 7 could be a significant step in wireless technology. And then it goes on to give detailed explanations about the speed and things like that. So Wi-Fi 6, I haven't even gotten Wi-Fi 6 yet, and Wi-Fi 7 is going to be coming out soon.
All right. Okay, I'll come back. I'll come back over to me. There we go. Now I put this up just as a for your interest view. It's how to track your sleep with an Apple Watch. If I thought it was sort of, my Fitbit is really easy to use, but apparently there's a bunch of settings that you need to use. And so this is just an interesting article. If you do have an Apple Watch, this is an interesting article to how to set that up. So it's just a for your information article, and I put that up there. The next one, so just to let everyone know, I got an email this week from Google. Hi, Ron, how you doing? Sort of article, email. Just like to keep in touch. And by the way, we have our Pixel 8 Pro on sale. And I went at Google, the Google store, and saw that it was $400 off, and they were going to give me $200 for my Pixel 6. So that prompted my interest a little more. And then I read this article this morning, and they're talking about the Pixel 9 Pro, which of course I forgot, but it's coming out very shortly. So this will give you some of the information about the Pixel 9 Pro. And they talked about this was the new feature that might convince you to buy the Pixel 9 Pro. Well, it's sort of a clickbait article sort of thing, but basically one of the features is the ability to, when you touch a screen, it's a different touch if you have a glove on versus a cold finger or warm finger, and it's adaptive touching, so it makes it better for you in different environments. And this is one of the new features which will be out on the Pixel 9. So more to come. We'll be talking a lot about this as actually just in a few months that I expect to see this be coming out. Usually they drop the price of the previous version of the Pixel phones earlier. So anyway, have a look. If you are thinking about it, just don't leap over to a Pixel 8 yet, despite the sales, because the 9 is coming. OpenAI deal with publishers could spell trouble for TechCrunch. So this was really an interesting story. So I decided, and we were talking about this before the show started, I thought, so in OpenAI, why can't I just put in, what are the tech news articles today? Why doesn't it go and just find all the articles and bring them up for me? Wouldn't that be cool? Well, when I did, it just brought up the links to sites like TechCrunch, right? It brought up a list of 5 of them, and it didn't actually give me the articles. But Bob and Huey went over to Microsoft's product and Copilot, and it brought the articles up. And I thought, well, now this is interesting. And the article, of course, is OpenAI is starting to sign contracts with new services to start. And I think this is going to be the next phase of AI. Now, we're all looking for practical things to use AI for. What more practical thing would it be? Hey, scour the services, bring up a focused group of articles without ads, and put it in my AI. Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, and where this comes in is, don't forget that not the Wall Street Journal, but New York Times is suing OpenAI because when it's scraped for information to add to its data, right, articles, where if they make deals with the publishers, then the publishers are saying, yeah, okay, go ahead, pay me some money and we'll let you go ahead and get data from us. Right. And that's what that's where these deals are coming through.
So this is going to be a huge issue coming up, but I think it's great. I just want to find these news articles, right?
Yep.
All right. Now, I'm going to talk. We're going to talk lots about rings because I'm really interested. I'm not sure I'm going to buy one, but Samsung reportedly plans to have 500,000 rings ready to go. So we are going to be seeing, of course, the Samsung Ring, which of course will be, it's going to have a lot of sensors in that ring to probably do most of the things a smartwatch will do, but it will be on a ring. Now, what do you guys think? Do you want to buy a ring, or you guys want to wear a ring? What?
I think I'd rather have a ring than use my watch for the health purposes and use my watch to do other things like checking my email or looking at a message or something like that, and then use the ring where I can sleep with the ring a lot easier than I can with my watch.
Well, if you're out there listening, what do you think? You're going to buy a ring? I don't know. It's now they have a lot of different sizes. So somehow it's going to have to get sized, because I don't think you can take it to the jeweler and have it cut and just expand it a bit. I don't think that's going to work.
I don't think so. But what I did do for like $1 something, Temu had a ring sizer that you can wrap around. It's like a tape measure for ring size. And so I have one. I'm all prepared.
Okay. All right.
You could get that ring sizer online for free. Just
print probably. Yeah, but it was more fun getting the package.
Yeah. Now the other one is that I wanted just to remind everybody about, and there's another article coming up about Motorola's newest budget phones. Man, oh man, these are really great phones. A friend of mine, I was at Costco with him, and he bought one last week, and it was $299. It was Motorola, and it had a 50 megapixel camera. It had a big storage on it. It had a fast processor. It was a really great phone. So while we all talk about expensive phones like Pixels and iPhones and expensive phones, just there is another world out there of really great phones, and Motorola is one of the producers of these phones. That if you are looking for a great phone and you want it, you don't want to pay, you don't want to mortgage your house to get it. These are really, really great phones. And this is an article from The Verge on the new. They've just brought up a new series of these phones out, and have a look at these. I would strongly recommend that.
Yeah, so Ron, on that article at the bottom, it says now has NFC. And that was one of the problems I had with my Motorola phone that I had about 3 years ago. It did not have near field technology when practically every other phone did.
Right. And you need that for tap and pay, right?
Exactly right.
That's right. Yeah. So that's good. So yeah, so I'm all for those, and go for it. Now, the other one that just came out, this was a good article. This came out this week. Samsung's mid-range Galaxy A55 has bigger screen and newer security features. This is just, we always talk about Samsung. We talk about the S21, 22, 23, 24. I think we're 24 now. But these are all $1,500 phones. Samsung has a whole line that's $200 or $300. Like, these are great phones, the same as the Motorola, and you don't have to pay a lot of money. So this goes over some of the new ones that they've just brought out. I'm not going to go through the different models, but it brings it up. And so I thought, have a look at these if you're interested.
Well, the big thing with those phones is they don't have a lot of bells and whistles that most people don't use anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Huey, is this the next article here? I can't, I think just go back up.
It was you that put it.
Okay. All right. So I got to tell everyone. So I thought I should learn a little more about Gemini this week. I thought Google's got Gemini and I should learn a little bit more about it. So I was reading about this, and so I installed the extension on my Chrome browser to bring up Gemini. So it did, and it brought it up, and I had a few tried it a few times. It didn't work, and I thought, well, it probably just doesn't work in Canada. I was picking picking on Canada again, So I thought that probably did. So I asked Bob and Huey, and they said no, they tried it didn't work either. So I thought, gee, Google really hasn't done a very good job on this, because of course OpenAI and Copilot, they're all like it's really doing well. And so Satya Nadella, who's the head of Microsoft, who's done really good job for Microsoft, says Google should have been the default winner in the AI race. And, I think he was very polite about that. There's a lot of negative things that he's saying. I mean, Google spent so much money over the past 10 years and this just hasn't materialized. And now they have Gemini out, and it doesn't even work in the extension. I don't know. What do you guys got? Any comments on that?
Not only doesn't it work in the extensions, they had to stop using the image design program because of the problems they were having with it as well. So
yeah. So there you go. And have we got this? Yeah, that was the article.
The same one. Yeah. So you had it twice.
Okay, I come back here. I'll go back over onto mine here.
Okay.
Just hold on. There we go. So we talked about Sora last week, and this we actually spent a lot of time talking about it. And this is OpenAI's text-to-video generator. Now, this was we discussed this a whole bunch last week, and all are very excited about it. But just to let you know, The Verge reported today that this is going to be available publicly later this year, and they're going to actually have audio with it as well. So,
price.
Are they more specific when they say later this year? Are we talking about December or April?
Don't know. Why?
The answer is yes.
They didn't mention a price, did they?
No. So we will see, but it is very exciting when you look at some of the demos they've put out. And Huey, maybe we can just say make a Tech for Senior Monday show and it'll be done, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then we come down. Oh, and Ray, you asked, and I got for you, right?
Okay.
You asked me. You wanted to watch the Academy Award Oppenheimer. So this is a site. This is an FYI site. This has all the Academy Awards and what streaming services and where you can get them.
Wonderful. Does it eliminate the political speeches?
No, it doesn't. But
well,
it tells you.
I didn't have any interest in watching it. I liked the Oscars years ago when all they talked about was movies.
Oh no!
This gives you a listing of where the movies themselves that won the Oscar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this gives you a list. Yeah, what streaming service has. Right. So if you wanted to watch Oppenheimer and you didn't know where it was and what service it was streaming on, this will tell you where it is and how to get it.
I mentioned almost a year ago that Plex has been offering that. They still call it beta, but it works perfectly. You type in what you want, and it'll tell you all the streaming services that make it available.
Yeah.
Now, just because it's streaming doesn't mean it's free. You're going to pay. You're going to pay for it for a while. Yeah.
So, Huey, we've got 15 minutes left. What do you think? Any comments? Anybody saying anything out there?
We've had one comment since we last did it, and it was this one.
Laura, what's the difference between TikTok and YouTube? Ooh, good question.
Who owns it?
Laura says, what's the difference between TikTok and YouTube?
TikTok are shorts. TikToks are shorts. They used to be at a limit of 1 minute. I believe now they can be 2 minutes, and sometimes they may be even a little bit longer, but they're very short videos, where YouTube is any video, and TikTok is usually sized for a phone.
Mobile device. Bob, you got any further comments?
The shorts on YouTube, the default is 15 seconds, and then you can choose to go up to 1 minute in length.
Yeah, but I was talking about TikTok.
And TikTok, I don't create anything for TikTok.
Yeah, but they were geared at 1 minute, and now I understand it's longer.
Go longer. Yeah.
Laura, it's a big question, and we could spend all morning talking about the differences.
The biggest concern is the fact that ByteDance, which is directly answerable to the Chinese Communist Party, are an owner of
Right.
TikTok.
Yes.
A
And
20%
YouTube-
owner, but they are an owner.
Right. And of course, YouTube is owned by Google.
Right.
All right. So, so Ray, just so if you want to look up where the movies are, this is a
Okay.
good one
Good.
for you, just for your interest. Now, this was an article from Kim Commando, and this was very interesting article. This was the apps that track you on your phone. Now, I know that we've talked, Bob, you've done lots of videos on this,
Yep.
And you've done lots of stuff, but one of the things that it talked about the different apps that you use on your phone and what the tracking features were, such as Google Maps and Reviewer. And what this does is allows you to change the security settings in your app so that you don't have the tracking feature. And it talks about Google Maps and reviews. It talks about Amazon reviews. It talks about Meta reviews. When you are putting reviews into online, these are often linked into your social media accounts, so it's very easy to track you through these links. So you have to be very careful. And this is a really good article, and it tells you how to turn off the tracking on each one of these services. So it's sort of an interesting article that I thought that you might be interested in. I'm not going to go through that, but it's just interesting.
On my YouTube channel, you'll find a tutorial on turning off these things on all
Right.
those
Yeah.
social media things
Yeah.
and on Google and so on and so forth.
Right. Just I'm one of 170 million Americans on TikTok. They do have their people going for them. Okay. Bad news for Apple Watch users waiting for blood oxygen sensor to return. For those of you who have an Apple Watch and we're used to having that, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Because of patent infringements and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go over the whole issue again. They have turned off that feature. It will be coming back, but they predict it may not resurface this year. So if you do have an Apple Watch and you do have your oxygen sensor isn't working, then this may not be coming back as soon as you want. This was, do you guys take your cameras and do you ever use them for video work? Now, I know that I had thought, and I get excited about doing some video work with my phone or some of the cameras I have, and I never do. Like we all make videos, but we all tend that all these B-roll that we have is so easy to get on services we have. Why go out and create it? But anyway, it is interesting that if you try and hold a camera, a phone, and use it, is that you have to have it held by your hands, which is often very awkward. And these are grips that you can actually put your camera into, or your phone into, and set it up to work for photography. And this is just the best iPhone camera grips in 2024. I thought it was a good, interesting article. If you are into that, there you go. Yes. Now, this is another really interesting article. This is, have you heard, of course, let me zoom down here. Right. Xiaomi. If you guys, we don't talk a lot about Xiaomi phones. Ziaomi. These are very popular phones. They're sold not in the USA. I don't think Xiaomi's sold here. It's not, so we never talk about them. But on the news articles that come out each week, they are a massive manufacturer of phones. and they are now close to producing as many cars as Tesla does. Tesla faces new rival. Tech giant launches its first EV car, and this is by Xiaomi, which is the phone company in China. And I thought it was interesting. And whether it will come to the U.S. market or not, I don't know. But they are pretty excited about this, and I think that's a pretty snazzy.
Will that also have to be banned because of Chinese ownership?
No, I don't know. I don't know. That's a whole other story. We don't want to go there. That's another show, Bob. That's another show. I don't want to go there. And what was this? And this was another article that came out this week. They have now discovered a breakthrough. Excuse me. They discovered a breakthrough in lithium-ion batteries. So they can take the technology and the way they recharge the lithium-ion batteries, and they're going to be able to double the range in a single charge. And this is without really substantially changing the lithium-ion batteries, but they're going to be able to. So it's an interesting article, and this just came out this week. So the technology always is improving on these batteries, but it may be that these cars now will be able to get 700 miles on a charge of an existing lithium-ion battery.
Now, Ron,
now you'll be able to you'll not only be able to get to where you want to go, you'll be able to get home.
Right.
Ron, will that increase the amount of the time that you have to waste with the charging process?
I don't know the answer to that. The article didn't get into that. It's I think this is it will have to be a change in the programming, and I think that's more down the road. I don't understand. I don't know that, Ray.
Okay.
I don't know. I will say though that it's interesting that we had at least in our area. You've all heard of the GM's Bolt, and that they had discontinued the Bolt, and and then they're now putting it back in production. Well, our dealer here, who has just had no stock over the last couple of years, he must have got 20 of these Bolts in, and he had them all lined up all around his dealership with all the front, with the front up and everything, and balloons on them. Do you know they're all sold? Like they were going for around 37,000 Canadian, and they literally sold them all in a week. I was like, it's really interesting. People are really, as long as you have products that people can afford, they are interested in electric vehicles. Now this was another one for you. Can you hear me? If you can't hear me, it's just an interesting use of how to use AirPods as hearing aids. And I thought that was sort of interesting. So you can, of course, use them as hearing aids. And this is an article on how to do that. Another use for these is since my wife's knee surgery, she's sleeping on her back and she's starting to snore more, which is driving me crazy. So I took my AirPods and used them at night, and it puts a seal in my ears. And so I can't hear any noise. So that's another use for them. Meadow Lake sunrise, Bob. What a gorgeous picture.
Well, it was one of those mornings that deserved to have some pictures taken, and then I just took them and some other stuff and I put it into a little video.
There you go. Bob, you had talked about this. I want to let everyone know, I mean, this is, of course, is a U.S. story. It's tax time. I'm sure everyone's excited about that. But of course, Bob has a number of videos out on, of course, the scammers associated with tax time, which is a huge problem. But the federal government actually has, in 12 states, you'll be able to use a tax service pilot program called Direct File, and this is free, and you can create this and file your taxes in these 12 states, your federal taxes, through to the IRS now. So it's not all states, and you can I don't want to list them all, but you can look at the article. So this is true. This is not a scam. And that of course means you don't have to pay TurboTax. So just let everyone know, if you are planning on funding him and you live in one of these states, you might want to save yourself $100, right? Or
Also,
whatever.
It's also not all types of taxes.
Right. These would be personal. I would assume it's personal income tax.
Correct.
Right?
yeah.
Correct. The
One of-
simple
one of my-
tax returns.
One of my neighbors just messaged me this morning asking if I knew of any free or inexpensive tax preparers, and AARP has for years done tax returns locally in libraries and some churches and so on, but only on certain days and only certain times. And they used to do it with appointments. I'm not sure if they're doing it with appointments or first come, first serve, but generally it's only like 3 or 4 hours at a time. And they do get a big crowd. So if you are going to go early, but you can go, there is a website where you can go and it'll tell you where in your area, of course it's in the US, where in your area AARP is doing taxes and what days and so on.
I'd also suggest that you check with your senior center, local senior center. Quite a few of them have AARP and other services that come in and will do tax returns. Again, usually on a first come, first serve, and it's usually limited to certain number of hours on specific dates. But many senior centers offers that service.
Yeah, my doctor's office is a big office. And they do a lot. They have a lot of services right there. And I saw on their calendar on Thursdays, they are offering for several hours tax services, but you have to call and make an appointment.
So Direct File is available to residents of Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Texas, Wyoming, Washington, Arizona, California, Massachusetts, and New York. So those are the states that are the Direct File. So Huey, Direct File is in Florida and it is in Arizona.
Mexico. Nothing's ever available in New Mexico.
Yeah. All right. Listen, it's we're gonna, I don't know.
It's a big witching hour.
The time just goes by so fast. We are at the top of the hour. Anyway, Huey, do we have any final comments before we have to go?
Yeah, just a couple of what I just mentioned.
JJ says, yes, AARP is doing taxes and they are my local senior center free.
Yep.
Deb says, AARP did my taxes over the internet with me last year. Very helpful. Didn't have to drive there. Oh, so they did it just over the cool. Very good. Thanks for the information, Deb. Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming and listening to us today. Out in the audience, we often don't say thank you. Thank you for coming. I mean, we do appreciate you being here. It is important. Otherwise, I guess we'd still get together, the four of us, and have coffee and talk about this anyway, because we just have a lot of fun doing it, right? So, but it is nice that people do listen. So thank you so much. Don't forget, if you are here and you're out there listening and you haven't been to our Monday show, come and join us. www.techforsenior.com is just go there and it'll give you all the Zoom information to log into, and we'll see you on Monday. Otherwise, we will be back same time, same place next week. Have a great week. Bye now.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.